My cruel husband threw my dead mother's last memory out the tall glass window. He told me to go jump into the dark, freezing lake. I only said one word. My name is Eleanor Vance. I lived in a massive, beautiful mansion with a powerful, rich man. His name was Victor Thorne. He was a famous, wealthy real estate billionaire. He possessed a dark, cold, empty heart. He hated me deeply and completely. Victor stood in our large, expensive bedroom tonight. He held a small silver necklace in his strong hands. It was the absolute last physical memory of my dead mother. He looked at me with pure, cruel disgust. He opened the tall glass window. He threw the beautiful silver necklace into the dark, rainy night. He told me to go jump into the freezing city lake. He wanted me to die and disappear forever. I did not scream or cry hot, wet tears. I looked at him quietly. I walked out of the massive, bright mansion alone. I did not look back at the warm house. I walked to a quiet, dark cemetery. I used my last few dirty coins to buy a small, cheap grave. I took a simple black and white photograph for my own tombstone. I walked slowly toward the large, deep city lake. The water looked completely black and freezing cold. The winter wind cut my soft skin like a sharp silver knife. I did not feel any fear or sadness. I felt perfectly calm and peaceful. I stepped into the dark, freezing water. The cold, heavy water pulled me down deep into the black shadows. I closed my tired eyes and stopped breathing. I finally found true, quiet peace. I left the cruel, painful world forever tonight. Victor did not know I was sinking in the dark lake. He hosted a massive, loud party in our bright mansion. He celebrated with his young, beautiful Mistress Lilith. He drank expensive, rich wine and laughed loudly. He thought he finally broke my weak spirit completely. The bright morning sun rose over the quiet city. Two serious, strict police officers knocked heavily on the mansion door. Victor opened the large wooden door with an arrogant, happy smile. The police officers did not smile back. They held a small digital video tablet. They showed Victor a dark, clear security video. The video showed my pale body walking into the freezing black lake. The strict officers told Victor they found my cold, dead body in the water. The massive, heavy truth hit his arrogant mind instantly. Victor stared at the bright digital screen in pure, absolute shock. He dropped his expensive glass of morning coffee. The glass broke into tiny, sharp pieces on the floor. He could not believe I was truly dead. His dark, twisted mind remembered our painful, bloody past. Our tragic, dark story began exactly 5 long years ago. Victor and I loved each other deeply and completely. We planned a beautiful, bright wedding in a massive stone church. I wore a stunning white silk dress. Victor wore a sharp, expensive dark suit. We stood at the bright, flowery altar with happy, bright smiles. Suddenly, a loud, terrible crash shook the heavy church walls. People screamed loudly outside the tall wooden doors. Victor ran outside into the busy street. I followed him with shaking, cold hands. A terrible, bloody car accident destroyed our perfect, happy day. My parents drove a large, heavy car that morning. They drank too much strong, cheap alcohol before the wedding. They lost control of the fast car completely. They hit another small black car very hard. The small black car belonged to Victor's sweet, loving family. His kind parents and his beautiful young sister died instantly in the broken metal. Blood covered the cold, hard street. Victor fell to his shaking knees. He cried loud, bitter tears of pure, raw agony. He looked up at my guilty parents with dark, angry eyes. He looked at me in my pure white wedding dress. His deep, warm love turned into pure toxic hate instantly. My parents killed his entire innocent family. My heart broke into a million tiny pieces. Victor did not call the normal city police. He possessed massive dark power and endless dirty money. He used his rich lawyers to buy my parents' massive legal debt. He trapped my guilty parents in a terrible dark private prison. He controlled their miserable lives completely. He forced me to sign a dark, terrible marriage contract. I became his legal prisoner to pay for my parents' bloody crime. My parents died in the cold, dark prison a few months later from a severe sickness. My mother sent me a secret dirty letter before she died. She begged me to endure Victor's cruel hate for exactly 5 years. She wanted me to pay our heavy family debt. I promised to survive the dark nightmare for 5 long years. I lived like a quiet, invisible ghost inside the massive mansion. I scrubbed dirty floors and washed dirty dishes every single day. Victor treated me like a useless, cheap animal. He wanted to punish me for the terrible, bloody wedding day constantly. Victor brought a young, beautiful woman to the mansion last year. Her name was Lilith. She possessed the exact same dark hair and bright eyes as me. She was my perfect physical copy. But she possessed a very greedy, dark, toxic soul. Lilith loved the massive, rich mansion and the expensive clothes. She wanted to become the supreme new wife. She wore my beautiful old dresses and sprayed my expensive, sweet perfume. She walked around the bright house like a proud, arrogant queen. She played cruel, wicked games to hurt me deeply. She threw herself down the hard, wooden stairs intentionally. She cried fake loud tears and blamed me for the dangerous fall. Victor knew she was acting, but he used her fake lies to punish me more. Victor protected Lilith and yelled loud, angry words at me. He watched me clean the dirty floors with a cold, nasty smile. He transferred all his broken love to the fake copy. He left all his dark, toxic hate for me. I endured the pain silently. Today was our 5th terrible wedding anniversary. The 5 long years of my dark prison sentence were finally ending. Victor hosted a special private dinner in the large dining room. He sat with Lilith at the beautiful long wooden table. I stood in the corner. Victor placed a massive heavy bottle of strong clear alcohol on the table. He pointed his finger at my tired, pale face. He ordered me to drink the entire dangerous bottle instantly. He wanted to punish me for my parents' stupid drunk mistake again. Lilith laughed a quiet, wicked laugh. She watched me with pure evil joy. I looked at the heavy glass bottle. I remembered the bloody car crash and my dead parents. I did not argue or cry. I grabbed the heavy bottle with shaking cold hands. I drank the strong, burning liquid very fast. The absolute terrible fire burned my throat and my weak stomach. I drank every single drop until the heavy bottle was completely empty. I fell to the hard floor in pure dizzy agony. My rich pride was totally crushed. I woke up the next morning with a terrible heavy pain in my head. The bright morning sun hurt my tired red eyes. Suddenly a loud ringing phone broke the quiet silence. Victor answered the fast call with a pale, scared face. A terrible accident happened today. Lilith crashed her expensive, shiny sports car into a thick stone wall. She suffered massive internal bleeding. The fast ambulance rushed her to the best private hospital in the city. Victor ran out of the large mansion instantly. I followed him quietly in the dark shadows. We arrived at the bright, clean hospital very quickly. The senior doctor delivered completely terrible, shocking news. Lilith suffered from sudden, severe kidney failure. Her weak body was shutting down fast. She desperately needed a fresh, healthy kidney transplant to survive the dark week. The hospital could not find a matching organ donor anywhere. Victor panicked and yelled loud, angry words at the tired doctors. He turned his head and looked at me slowly. A cold, dark, dangerous idea formed in his sharp mind. We shared the exact same rare blood type. Victor grabbed my thin, weak arm roughly. He ordered me to give my healthy kidney to his beautiful young mistress. I looked deeply into his cold, empty eyes. I shook my head slowly. I told him I paid my bloody family debt already. I refused to die for her. Victor smiled, a very dark, cruel, wicked smile. He pulled his expensive digital phone from his dark pocket. He showed me a live video of my parents' quiet green cemetery. A massive, heavy yellow bulldozer stood directly over their quiet, peaceful graves. He threatened to destroy their resting place completely. He promised to turn their quiet graves into a dirty, smelly garbage dump. He promised to throw their old bones into the cold, dark river. He used my absolute deepest weakness against me perfectly. I felt pure, raw, dark horror hit my tired mind. I could not let him destroy my dead parents. I nodded my head slowly with a completely empty, dead smile. I agreed to the dangerous, bloody surgery. I signed the legal medical papers with a cheap plastic pen. The hospital nurses pushed me into a bright, cold operating room. The strong chemical medicine put me into a deep, heavy sleep. The senior doctors cut deep into my soft skin with a sharp silver knife. They removed my healthy organ to save the toxic fake copy. I woke up many long hours later. I lay in a tiny, cheap, dirty recovery room alone. The loud hospital machines beeped slowly in the dark corner. A terrible, sharp, burning pain tore through my deep, fresh wound. I did not have a soft, warm blanket or clean water. Victor did not visit my small, dark room. He sat in a massive, bright VIP hospital suite. He held Lilith's soft, warm hands and kissed her sweet face. He told her she was pregnant with his beautiful, strong child. They celebrated their fake, happy future together. The cheap hospital kicked me out the very next morning. I could barely walk on my shaking, weak legs. Victor drove his sleek black luxury car to the front hospital doors. He told me to get inside the warm car quickly. A heavy, freezing rainstorm started to fall. We drove down the dark, wet city street in total silence. Victor looked at his expensive gold watch impatiently. He wanted to return to the warm hospital to hold Lilith's hand. He stopped the fast car in the middle of a dark, empty road. He unlocked my heavy car door. He told me to get out and walk home in the freezing rain. He did not care about my bleeding fresh wound or my weak, tired body. I stepped out into the cold, wet storm without a single word. He drove away instantly. I stood alone in the dark, freezing rain. The cold water washed the final drops of hope from my tired soul. I realized my 5 long years of dark punishment were officially over. I paid my bloody family debt with my own flesh. I was finally completely free. But I had absolutely nothing left to live for. My family was dead. My husband hated me. My body was broken. I looked at the dark, freezing city lake in the distance. I decided to end my painful, sad story tonight. I walked slowly toward the black water. Victor drove his fast luxury car to the main city police station. He walked into the bright, cold building with heavy, angry steps. He yelled loud, nasty words at the quiet, serious police officers. He refused to believe my tragic watery death. He claimed the dark security video was a fake, stupid trick. He told the officers I paid them dirty cash to hide my escape. He promised to find me and punish me forever. The senior officer looked at Victor with deep, pure disgust. The officer dropped a thick brown folder onto the hard metal desk. He opened the heavy file slowly. He pulled out clear, bright medical photographs and official legal papers. He presented the absolute, solid, undeniable proof of my cold, watery death. The strict officer pointed at the dark medical photos. He explained the official autopsy results with a flat, professional voice. The dead body in the freezing lake missed exactly one healthy kidney. The recent bloody surgical wound matched my medical records perfectly. The sharp, intelligent doctors tested the cold, dead blood and the pale skin. The complex digital DNA results matched my official hospital files completely. It was a perfect, absolute match. There was zero doubt or tiny mistake in the bright room. Victor stared at the solid scientific papers in pure raw shock. His loud, arrogant voice disappeared instantly. His strong, shaking hands dropped the heavy brown folder. The cold, dark, terrible reality finally crushed his thick, angry skull. I was truly permanently gone. The senior officer handed Victor a small, clear plastic bag. The bag contained my old, cheap wet shoes and a folded piece of paper. It was my final, quiet goodbye letter. I wrote the short, simple message before I stepped into the dark water. Victor opened the wet paper with weak, shaking fingers. He read the simple black ink slowly. I did not write angry curses or sad tears. I only wrote 6 short, cold words. I promise to never see you again. The 6 simple words cut his dark heart like a sharp silver knife. He realized his cruel, bloody revenge destroyed the only woman he ever loved. He felt his knees on the cold police floor. He cried loud, ugly tears of pure, absolute agony. He begged the quiet police officers to save my life. He offered them millions of shiny gold coins to reverse the terrible dark time. The officers watched the powerful billionaire break into tiny, weak pieces. They did not show any warm pity. Victor finally understood the massive, heavy price of his toxic hate. He traded his beautiful, bright future for dark, ugly revenge. He won the dangerous, bloody war today. But he lost his own soul completely in the freezing black water. Victor returned to the massive, quiet mansion like a walking dead ghost. His expensive dark suit was wet and wrinkled. His handsome, proud face looked completely pale and totally exhausted. He walked through the tall glass doors with heavy, slow footsteps. Lilith ran down the grand, curved staircase instantly. She wore my beautiful, expensive silk dress and my bright diamond earrings. She smiled a sweet, fake, innocent smile. She hugged Victor tightly and kissed his cold, wet face. She acted incredibly happy. She touched her flat stomach gently and talked about their bright future. She promised to give him a strong, beautiful baby soon. She expected him to smile and celebrate the dark victory. Victor just stared at her fake, pretty face quietly. The senior private doctor arrived at the massive mansion that same afternoon. He came to check Lilith's health after the major kidney surgery. The doctor brought his thick medical files and his sharp testing machines. He examined her body in the bright, quiet room. The smart doctor walked out of the room with a very confused, serious face. He asked Victor to speak in the dark, private library. The doctor locked the heavy wooden door carefully. He delivered a terrible, shocking, massive secret to the broken man. The doctor stated clearly that Lilith was absolutely not pregnant. He tested her blood twice to be completely certain. She did not carry a new tiny life. She paid dirty secret money to a different hospital to fake the happy medical results. Victor felt a new sharp dark pain in his chest. But the senior doctor was not finished yet. He presented another thick legal medical folder. He discovered a terrible massive lie about the sudden bloody car crash from last week. Lilith never suffered from real sudden kidney failure. Her own organs were perfectly, completely healthy. She bribed greedy dark doctors to fake the severe, dangerous illness. She staged the entire bloody car crash to steal my healthy kidney intentionally. She wanted to hurt me and permanently damage my weak body. She knew Victor would force me to perform the bloody sacrifice. She manipulated his dark, toxic hate perfectly. She used his blind anger to destroy my quiet, sad life completely. Victor listened to the dark, terrible truth in total silent horror. He realized he was a stupid blind tool in a wicked evil game. He sacrificed his true innocent wife for a greedy toxic monster. He helped a cruel demon murder an angel. Victor walked slowly up the grand, curved staircase. A dark, terrifying fire burned deep inside his cold, empty eyes. He entered the large, bright master bedroom quietly. Lilith sat on the soft, expensive bed and painted her sharp nails a bright, shiny red. She smiled her fake sweet smile and asked about his quiet mood. Victor did not answer with warm, gentle words. He lunged forward like a wild, angry wolf. He grabbed her thin, soft neck with his two strong, heavy hands. He pushed her hard against the cold, painted wall. Lilith dropped her red paint and gasped for clean, fresh air. Her fake, sweet smile vanished instantly. Pure, absolute, raw terror filled her wide, dark eyes. She kicked her legs and scratched his arms. Victor squeezed her neck tighter and tighter. He whispered the terrible, dark truth into her ear. He told her he knew about the fake baby and the stolen kidney. He called her a disgusting, greedy, toxic monster. He wanted to break her completely. He did not kill her in the bright bedroom. Death was a fast, easy, quiet escape. He wanted her to suffer a long, painful, miserable life. He dragged her weak, shaking body down the long wooden stairs. She cried loud, ugly, wet tears. Victor opened the heavy front doors into the freezing dark rain. He threw Lilith onto the cold, wet cement roughly. He ordered his tall, strong security guards to take her away. He commanded them to break her legs and dump her in the mud. He promised to use his massive global power to destroy her entire future. He swore she would never find a safe, warm home or a simple job again. He erased her fake rich life instantly. The cruel gold digger finally met true, pure evil. Victor locked the heavy, massive doors behind her loud screaming cries. He stood alone in the huge, quiet, empty mansion. The dark, lonely silence crushed his tired, broken mind. He walked slowly toward my small, dark, old closet in the corner. He pulled out my cheap, simple white slip dress. It was the only old thing I left behind. He held the soft, thin fabric against his wet, crying face. He smelled my sweet, familiar, clean scent. He felt his shaking knees. He talked to the empty white dress like a crazy, broken madman. He begged the soft fabric for sweet, gentle forgiveness. He promised to change his dark, toxic ways. He was the most powerful, rich man in the city, but he possessed absolutely nothing. Many quiet, dark days passed inside the massive locked mansion. Victor did not eat fresh, warm food or drink clean water. He stopped answering his loud ringing business phones. He fired all his loyal smart servants. He lived completely, totally alone in the dark shadows. His broken, guilty mind started to play terrible, scary tricks on him. He saw my quiet, pale ghost everywhere in the empty house. He saw me scrubbing the dirty wooden floors. He saw me crying silent, hot tears in the cold kitchen. The heavy, dark guilt ate his brain like a hungry wild animal. He could not sleep or close his tired red eyes. Every single quiet shadow looked like my dead, wet body. The mansion became a terrifying, dark psychological prison for the rich billionaire. He decided he could not endure the massive, painful torture anymore. He wanted to burn the dark memories to the ground completely. He walked to the large, expensive garage. He found heavy red plastic cans full of strong, dangerous gasoline. Victor carried the heavy red cans into the beautiful, bright living room. He poured the strong-smelling liquid over the expensive, soft carpets. He threw the dangerous liquid onto the beautiful old paintings and the soft wooden furniture. He soaked the entire massive house. He sat in the middle of the dark, wet room. He held my simple, cheap white dress tightly in his hands. He smiled a very sad, quiet, broken smile. He pulled a small silver lighter from his dark pants pocket. He sparked a bright, hot flame. He dropped the small, bright flame onto the wet carpet. The strong gasoline ignited instantly with a loud, roaring whoosh. Massive, hot, bright, orange fire exploded across the dark room. The thick, black smoke filled the air quickly. The heat was absolutely terrible. Victor closed his eyes and waited for the quiet, peaceful end. He wanted the hot, bright fire to burn his dark sins away. He wanted to fall deep into hell and find my lost soul. But his dark plan failed completely tonight. Loud, heavy sirens screamed down the dark, wet street. Brave, strong firefighters broke the tall glass windows with heavy, sharp axes. They rushed into the burning hot mansion quickly. They found Victor lying in the thick black smoke and dragged him outside. The fast ambulance took him to the bright, busy emergency hospital. The top senior doctors worked for many long hours to save his ruined life. They treated his massive, terrible, deep burn wounds. Death completely rejected his dark, dirty, guilty soul today. 5 long, quiet years passed since the massive, terrible fire. The famous rich billionaire Victor Thorne completely disappeared from the bright public world. He lost his beautiful, handsome face in the hot, bright flames. Deep, thick, ugly scars covered his rough skin perfectly. He gave all his massive, dirty money to poor, lonely orphans. He left the high, rich corporate world forever. He moved into a very small, dark, wooden cabin near the freezing city lake. He lived like a quiet, ugly, invisible monster in the shadows. He spent every single long day sitting at a small wooden table. He wore thick, dark glasses to hide his terrible, burned eyes. He held tiny, sharp metal tools in his shaking, weak hands. He worked on a very small, delicate silver puzzle. He hired deep water divers to search the freezing black lake for many months. They finally found the small, broken silver necklace in the deep, dark mud. It was my dead mother's precious final memory. The sharp rocks smashed the silver into tiny, sharp pieces. Victor tried to fix the broken silver necklace every single day. A famous smart jeweler told him the metal was completely ruined forever. The smart man said it would take a whole long lifetime to fix the tiny broken pieces. Victor smiled a quiet, sad smile. He told the jeweler he had his entire long lifetime to try. He used the impossible heavy task to punish his own dark mind. The tiny broken silver pieces represented my shattered, innocent heart. He could never ever put the pure, bright pieces back together. He pushed his heavy metal wheelchair to the cold glass window. His burned, weak legs could not walk anymore. He looked out at the freezing dark black water. The winter wind blew white cold snow across the quiet, empty lake. He finally understood the brilliant, massive perfection of my quiet revenge. I did not need to scream or fight or kill him with a sharp knife. I gave him exactly what his dark, angry heart wanted. I disappeared and left him totally alone. My fast, quiet death was a beautiful, sweet, peaceful escape for me. I rested safely in the quiet, warm heaven. But my bloody, tragic end built an eternal, dark, heavy prison for his guilty soul. He had to breathe and live every day. He had to carry the massive, terrible weight of my murder until his very last breath. True perfect revenge is not a fast, violent, bloody strike. It is leaving the monster alive to choke on his own dark, toxic sins forever.